You wouldn't allow. You'd be like, excuse me, oh, never mind, I didn't see your sign. And a lot of people don't know the genesis of Here's Your Sign. I'm going to tell you all tonight. So back when I was working in the comedy clubs, you were at a place for 5-6 days in a row. And so you had time to work on material and work it out and stuff. And the bit used to be that I thought stupid people should be slapped, which I still believe. But one day Gail came to me, she's always looking out for me. She said, you don't look like the kind of guy that walks around slapping people. So I started working on this idea of a sign that just said, I'm stupid. And before I would go to a show, Gail and I would literally tie string around these little signs that people could hang around their neck, and I would sell them at the end of the show. And I'd sell them for $1 a piece or 2 for $5. You would be amazed. 2 for $5, I'll get in on that, that's good. Well, by the end of the week, I'd come home with $400 or $500 in ones, and Gail would go put the money in the bank. One day she come home from the bank, she goes, all right, you gotta stop selling signs. And I said, why? And she goes, because the bank thinks I'm a stripper. Only in my dreams. And it just kind of, when Travis Tritt came out and sang that song with me, and it just exploded. And it's to this day, 45 years later, it's still going, which is crazy. And that's a whole Here's Your Sign bit. And for those of you who may not know what it is, it's just basically a dumb answer to stupid questions. Smart aleck answer to stupid questions. And when I do interviews, people ask me, they'll go, what's your favorite one? And I always go back to this one that I was doing a corporate job down in Pennsylvania for this company, 84 Lumber. It was their Christmas party. And they had it at this resort that had a private airstrip, and they flew me in on a private plane, but there was one light on the end of this runway so they could see where it was. When we landed on that jet on that runway, a deer jumped out in front of us, and we smacked this deer. Horns went one way, antlers, hooves, everything, and we get out of the plane slid off the runway, and we were all fine, we didn't get hurt, but I called Gail, and I said, you're not gonna believe this. I go, we just hit a deer with our airplane. And she goes, oh no. Wait, were you on the ground? I said, nope, Santa was making one last run. Here's your sign. I was doing a show last night in, Florida. And I had to stay the night. And so after the show, I went back to the hotel and walked up to the little girl at the front desk, and I said, could I get a 6:30 wake-up call, please? She said, do you want me to call your room? I said, no, call the people next door. They'll bang on the wall. That'll wake me up. Here's your sign. My neighbor, who's known the bit for 20 years, before I left to come on this road trip, I was walking my dog, and he's coming up his driveway, and he goes, oh, hey, Bill, you walking your dog? I said, nope, walking the leash. Damn dog just ran right into it. Here's your sign. I had one happen to me during COVID. Remember, did they do that up here where, like, if you went out to eat, they would rub that thing on your forehead, checking for fever? Yeah, they were doing it. So one night, Gail and I went out to dinner, and this poor little girl's just doing her job. And I'm being a smart ass. She's rubbing that thing on my forehead, and I said, oh, you checking for fever? She goes, nope, checking for morons. Found one. And then looked at me and said, here's your sign. Hey, God bless you guys. Thank you so much for coming out. I love you.